This boy and girl are going to be well equipped when the time comes to take their places as worthy members of adult society.
Aloha, y'all. This is Daniel Eisenman, the host of the Breaking Normal podcast, where my guests are all invited based on the frequency of synchronicity, all done in person, and all trailblazers in the breaking of all things normal. All right, here we are. I am back in Boulder. I was in San Diego for a while longer than I had thought I was going to be, and I was been connected to the guy sitting across from me for a few weeks to months now.
Yeah.
Stewart Ward. Welcome to Breaking Normal.
Thanks.
I hear this is the first podcast you've done.
I have not done other podcasts before.
Well, that's pretty interesting to me because everyone that told me about you, they make it sound like you have a very breaking normal story and that you know everyone.
Well, that's great. I've had the chance to check out a few snippets of your interviews and stuff, and it seemed like we can have a good conversation, certainly. So I'm looking forward to that. And
is one of the ways most people know you in town because you're the chef at the Highland City Club? Is that my understanding? Is that correct?
No. I'm a full-time 100% realtor, focused on residential real estate here in town.
I must be mixing up the who Yovel connected me with. So you're the realtor. So we had this conversation going a long time
That's
ago.
That's correct.
Wow. Is all right. This is definitely breaking normal. No, this is great.
Okay, cool.
We'll navigate through this. One thing I'm interested in. So now that I know you're into realty, I just came back from one of the most expensive roads on earth, Neptune Avenue in Encinitas, California. Are you familiar?
I'm not personally, but
it's where like Sean White lives next to Tony Hawk, which was next to where Paramahansa Yogananda brought his spiritual center, next to Charlie Chaplin's old house.
Wow.
It's like a 3-mile magical, charming part of California.
That's amazing.
But you mentioned you were born in Miami, or you're from Miami.
Correct.
Born and from?
Yes. Yeah, pretty much. I don't go back to Miami that much anymore. My family kind of moved north with the rest of the gringos in the 80s, but I still love the area. Yeah,
I was born there, and my dad's dad, who was a kid during the Holocaust, survived, came to the United States, and started a bunch of businesses in Miami Beach.
Okay.
I'm almost wondering, did you ever remember the Desert Inn Motel?
I haven't been, but was it one of those cool like Art Deco ones or something?
Yeah, it was kind of near the Fountain Blue, I think.
Oh, I know. So further north.
Yeah, it was like more in North Miami Beach.
Sure.
And then my dad and his brother had a couple pharmacies.
Okay.
And allegedly, a lot of people, I'm not even sure what I'm allowed to say, but allegedly it was like almost like a party pharmacy.
Okay.
Because being in Miami Beach.
My kind of pharmacy. That sounds like fun.
All right. So your main gig here in Boulder is realty.
Yes. I am a fully functioning, I'm a full-time realtor. Absolutely.
Well, here's a question for you right off the bat. In Encinitas, Tony Hawk's house, I believe, is being used by a company called Outsite.
Okay.
Are you familiar with this? Because I think they have a couple properties in Boulder as well. They're a co-working, co-living space where they like somehow get leases. I don't know if they're buying the house or leasing the house. And they get, they're like multi-million-dollar homes in like the best parts of the best towns in the world.
Okay.
And then they allow people to rent a night there, and it's catered towards digital nomads. Like you'll most likely be staying with probably investors or marketers or what Yovel's doing here, people that are experts in selling products.
Got it.
So it's like how a lot of entrepreneurs without a home live.
Interesting.
And I don't know how they're doing that in Boulder with the rules, because like most big homes I look at are for single residents only, for single family residents only.
Pretty much. I mean, unless they're flying under the radar somehow, the local regulations are pretty strict around that kind of thing.
Huh. Yeah. Is there a way around it? Is there a way if like you start a church, or if you start is it like how the college kids do it?
That nut. So it's kind of interesting. So the way that a lot of the local regulations get enforced is by the neighbors. So let's say you're on Mapleton Hill. It's a great street. It's maybe one of our most famous, or the one down from it, Highland Avenue. If you were to convert your historic, beautiful house into a place where people stayed overnight, I'm not sure if that's I don't know.
Yeah,
Or even operating a business of any kind.
So I can go on the website and outsite and look at all the homes they have. And I think they have some in Boulder, and they usually offer weekly rentals.
Okay. So, I mean, that would be possible. If someone was doing a weekly rental and you would have to have a short-term rental license in order to do that. It would have to be, it would have had to be taken out by the owner of the home, and then the owner of the home would only be able to do that for 6 months a year. And then the other half of the year, they would have to actually live in the house personally.
As in they can only max do it 6 months a year?
Correct. And then,
So
I mean,
can
there
you
are
do
other
multiple rooms?
other tricky aspects of that. Yes, exactly. Like recently some regulations changed where, you could have maybe a few more unrelated people sleeping in a house at the same time. There used to be very strict regulations around that being, I think it was no more than 5 unrelateds. But those were for longer term leases. And there's a lot of flux right now because of Sundance, and they're trying to figure out how to skin that cat for everybody.
When is Sundance coming to Boulder?
I believe it's the end of January 2027.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wow, man, I have so many questions. How long have you been doing realty here in Boulder?
I started in 2010, so yeah, just about 15 years.
Okay, so I moved here and I was going through a pretty long, drawn-out divorce, and I considered getting a realtor license for the state of Colorado, and my attorney advised me not to because that they could potentially project my financials on an average income of a realtor in Colorado, which may have been close to $1 million a year. Is that? I don't know if that's because you start counting realtors. They're like selling homes in Aspen and Telluride or what. But it was like high. It was too high of a salary allegedly. Like you don't want to do that.
That's interesting.
How do realtors do in Colorado? Is this a good endeavor and for who?
I mean, so the thing about real estate is that there are 3 million real estate licenses active, meaning selling more than one property a year in the United States. Just in Boulder County, we have 5,500 approximately. And of those 5,500, really only about 20%. It's kind of about 20% are doing 80% of the business.
Like the Pareto principle.
Yeah, there you go. Pareto principle. I wanted to say Fibonacci for some reason.
There's probably some Fibonacci in there too.
but it is sort of the 80-20 rule. Yeah. So there are definitely realtors in many parts of Colorado that do quite well. But, the average realtor in Colorado is going to make about the average salary in Colorado, which is about $95,000 or something like that.
Okay, so maybe I was mistaken in numbers. Yeah. I've also heard a stat about Colorado. Are there like more millionaires per capita in Colorado than any other state?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, it's possible.
Per capita.
I thought millionaires per capita was bigger in places like Georgetown, Washington, D.C., stuff like that. But I don't know for sure. I wouldn't say that if you include all of Colorado, that would probably be true either. Just, our average salary once again is hovering right around 100 or something per household. So I don't believe it would be anything too spectacular.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how are you doing in real estate?
I'm doing great. I can't complain. I love the work, and I've been able to build a good, reliable, pretty steady business. I mean, there's a lot of hustle involved, but I enjoy that part too. I'm a doer, and it's a great way to add value in people's lives. I enjoy that a lot. That's the main part of it, and it does also it's been a good living for me. Absolutely.
Are you doing better than the average?
Yes.
Okay. And then do you live here with a family?
No, I have a girlfriend and a dog, but no kids.
What kind of dog?
It's a little American Spaniel, Roxy. Okay. She's awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So now I know a lot of people like myself that are intrigued by the idea of getting a
real estate license.
And I'll tell you,
absolutely.
even though I know I have friends that are like wanting to move to Boulder, and they are looking at, they would like to maybe get a house that's $2 to $3 million.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, why can't I get a percentage? Like, I want to get a percentage of that deal, especially if because a few of these friends, I'm trying to advise them where to live.
Yeah.
I typically advise people to live next to Evan G. Fine Park.
Are you like trying to seduce me right now?
Maybe I am, and I don't know it. Like, meaning, would I be like trying to get into like work with you? I know I do. I don't know how serious they are. Like, when it comes to having the license and making the deal, I'm like, that might be a whole nother ball game. But it seems like I would want that in my back pocket.
So if you wanted to do that, and it looked like you had a bunch of folks who were coming in, the way that would typically work, that I would recommend for you, is you get a license, you maintain it, and then you get a referral fee for doing the work. You wouldn't want to do the work yourself, because in order to become like a half decent realtor in our area, I mean, generally you don't really have any idea what you're doing for the first 5 years. So it's sort of, it would be something where that would, I mean, standard referral percentage among, in the industry is around 20-25%. So you would get 25% of the commission that somebody like me would earn by introducing me to your people, and then them actually closing on a deal. Obviously, real estate is commission based only, and you only get paid when you're closed. So that would all be contingent on the deal actually coming to fruition and closing, of course, at some point. So
now I need a real estate license to refer.
You do.
Really?
Yeah.
Is there a loophole for that one?
Not really. They make it kind of difficult for you to do that. Yeah. You need to have a real estate license in order for anyone who has a broker's license to be able to pay you.
Oh, so I can't legally say, for instance, be on your marketing team and you pay me commission based on the people that I send you to buy? Is that not possible?
No. I mean, there might be people who have their own agencies who would be willing to break the rules or whatever. I am not that guy. I'm a pretty, I'm in the biggest brokerage in town, and I'm, one of the people there. So I wouldn't have that kind of flexibility. And I'm not sure that anyone would like to take that risk who wasn't willing to lose their license. So,
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know.
And how tough is the license? How possible? What's the easiest way?
Oh yeah, it's easy. If you've got a pulse, you can get a real estate license pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you recommend a certain path for someone? If they're like, I just want to get this, like for me, like if I just want to get this in my back pocket so I could refer someone.
It takes the average person, I would say, about 2 months of intense study to pass the test.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Pretty intense study. So when I say intense study, I'm talking like 4 hours a day for a couple months.
I took the MCATs once. That was a lot of intense.
Congrats. Yeah. That would be a lot harder than getting.
I was probably about 6 to 8 hours a day
for
months,
a couple of years. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Happy to steer you in the right direction if you wanted to, be able to pass those tests. And
so I have a feeling I'm not the only one in these shoes. So if you have any advice about that or guidance.
I mean, I liked Kaplan because they have the best testing system. So I just did a bunch of practice tests, and I focused on the things that I got wrong and then learned those things. And so I was able to do it in about 5 weeks, but that's just because I didn't have a full-time job at the time.
So really smart.
I just did that. I did it full time. I did it 8 hours a day, pretty much every day for a month. So that was my thing. Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Here's another question for you. I might bounce around the place, but is it true that new Colorado homes can't be built with wood burning fireplaces?
I've heard in Boulder that there's a recent restriction. Again, I haven't seen the statute myself, but what I've read seems to indicate that if you're doing a new build, like if you're you have a piece of land that hasn't had a previous home on it, that they're not allowing new gas lines to the property.
Okay.
I have heard that.
Yeah, I had a friend, I don't know if probably like Fifth Arapahoe. I think what they did, they said they somehow kept the old fireplace and built around it. That was the way they did it.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
I feel like I could sell if the home has a like nice mold-free hardwood, big, nice natural lighting and wind, air situation and gas burning stoves and a wood burning fireplace. I could be a good salesman for that home.
Oh yeah, sure. Of course. That's a beautiful way to go. I mean, I wouldn't, if you're just doing a remodel, once again, I think a lot of this is like applying for a new tap up to any property, right? So there's water, sewer, and gas, basically electric, obviously, but we cover that in the air. So when you're building a new home on a piece of previously unimproved land, you have to apply and pay for all of those you have to apply and pay for all of those taps. And so what I imagine is they're not allowing new taps.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be my guess.
And that's another question for me. I live at near the foot of the Mountain Motel.
Yeah.
And do you know if that place is on city water or well water?
My guess would be foot of the mountain would because the place is right next door. You have those office buildings and stuff, so it's got to still be on sewer.
But did you know the complex across the street at the base of People's Park, and it's like 8 apartments there? That's on well water, allegedly.
You're talking about the one that the new development?
It's a brick building. It's an old one. Oh, and it's like right at what are the park they're called with the Red Rocks? Is it People's Crossing?
Red Rock, yeah, sure. Red Rocks
and
Park
there's
is sort of
a complex in the backyard.
Oh, you're talking about that one that's up the hill.
Yeah, behind the yellow house.
Right behind the yellow house. Yeah,
that's on well water.
Right. That doesn't surprise me because that would be right on the edge of or above what's called the blue line.
Okay.
Yeah. So the blue line is this artificial line that was created above which no city services shall be provided, sort of back in the day.
Okay.
They drew that line. There have been modifications to that line. They've moved it up in some areas. So if you were building that place now, you very well may be able to get city services. I'm pretty sure the blue line has moved above that spot at this point. But if you are already on septic, you probably wouldn't spend the money to convert the entire building and stuff like that.
No, I prefer the non-city water.
Yeah, you go.
That's why I'm curious in those type of situations.
Yeah.
Do you know other places in Boulder that are like that? They're like really close to town that don't have city water coming to them.
I mean, again, foothills, you can be up just a mile from Broadway, a mile and a half from Broadway, and not have, and have sewer for sure.
Yeah, because I think they put fluoride and chlorine in our water.
There is definitely fluoride added to our water. Yeah,
and chlorine, I believe.
Could be. Yeah, I'm sure. I haven't studied it, but no, absolutely. There's definitely additives in there, pretty standard ones, really.
Do you find most of your clients want that, or they don't care about it, or they prefer well, or
it doesn't come up that much?
It doesn't. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, depending on who it is, though, anything can come up. I mean, it's Boulder.
Yeah.
And I mean, even with the wells that are up in the foothills, you have issues with those too.
I've heard.
I mean, coliform bacteria and whatever. I mean, you have to be really careful. Most wells that get put in these days, they have like an infrared. They have to pass through an infrared filter to make sure that all the bugs get zapped and that kind of thing. Yeah,
because I hear the wells in Colorado are a bit different than, like, say, for instance, the wells in Georgia. Like, a lot of my family's homes are in wells, and that seems like another preference personally for me.
Sure.
So, all right. So back to the real estate license in Boulder. What do you think the best way, if someone, I like 2 different questions. If someone wants to maybe strike gold and just kind of passively stand by and have a real estate license in their back pocket versus someone that wants to make a career out of this, how do you think people are the most successful at doing that here in Boulder?
That's interesting. It must not be that popular, because otherwise I would know some people who are doing that.
Okay.
I mean, I've been pretty exclusively focused on real estate, and I've been living here for quite a while. And it has come up a couple of times over time where, somebody is referring me business and they'd like to, make some money on that or something. And, it's generally just a couple of nice dinners out or something like that type of thing. So, but to actually have a check cut and to, to be able to have that be a percentage and have it documented, you would be able to declare it on your taxes, that kind of thing. I don't know what the path for that is, to be honest. So I'm not aware of it.
We'll figure that out for the Breaking Normal viewers.
I can definitely
maybe
find out for you, probably.
Yeah, I'll if you have any insights, I'll be standing by.
Yeah, sure. I can probably find out for you.
And then what about someone that's like, I'm going to become a very successful realtor in Boulder? What's the path?
I think that the path of least resistance for most people is to get your license, find a team that is doing a ton of business and that needs help in marketing or something like that. It kind of depends. Are you fresh out of college or what are you doing? You would be able to leverage some of your experience or your talents in marketing or in coordination or with people or something to decide what role within that team you might want or need. You learn, therefore, on the ground with somebody who has a successful real estate business here in town, how to do it. And then you would have to decide at that point, which would take you probably a year or two to figure out how it's done and, how you could do it and how you would want to do it, whether or not you were actually, willing to do what's necessary to build that business. Right. So, in Boulder, I was fortunate to come into the real estate world here, having had some experience as an investor in real estate, as well as having had a license in Florida and occasionally, I had a license for a short time in Oregon, just flipping my own projects and stuff. And so I had some savings, so I didn't really need to make a ton of money immediately. And so I was willing to do what it took, and I worked a lot those first 5 years or so, just to build up my my experience and meeting people and stuff. I mean, it's Boulder's one of the most competitive markets in the country. We do have a lot of folks here who maybe be very well networked, and they get a real estate license and they do all the work and stuff like that. And then they just know that because they have a really big network, that there's going to be a couple of people in their network who would probably use them, who are their best friends or something like that. Yeah, that's a great way to go. So if you have an established network, people who become successful real estates relatively quickly in town, a lot of them come from businesses where, let's say you were a furniture guy and you had a furniture floor and you knew a ton of people who were already kind of in the business tangentially, and they all trusted you, and you had like a great network already. Mm-hmm. That would be a great way to start and move over, I would say. Gotcha. I kind of did it the hard way. I showed up, I didn't know anybody. I went to college here and then I was gone and stuff like that. So I really had to build a business from scratch, and do some things that most people probably aren't willing to do, like make cold calls and stuff like that. So that was kind of how I did it.
How do you cold call someone for real estate? Like, meaning that you knew they might be in the market for a home, or there's the calling expireds, it's called. So people will list their homes and they won't sell. Okay. And then they're looking for a new realtor. Yep. And so there's ways that data is mined and you can pay for that data. Okay. And then you can just cold call those people and have a good pitch and, go in and try and grab that business. Yeah, that sounds tougher. I've had people call me like, Daniel Eisenman, is this your property? I'm like, no, that's not mine. And I'm like, is this like some sort of weird way of trying to become my realtor? I'm like, what is this? Yeah, that's another good way of doing it. I mean, if you're a smile and dialer, like that's and that
that doesn't bother you, or that's something that you're willing to spend time doing, as I was in the beginning, then that's something you can absolutely do and build a business 100%. So
Why do you think you were more willing to do that?
I didn't have a choice. I kind of, I knew that I could see what I wanted to be, or where I wanted my business to be eventually, or the kind of business that I wanted. I'd had a career in technology, and a couple of other things. And so I had a little savings. And so I just realized that the quickest road to that was going to be, not only like meeting as many people as possible, but also just reaching out to people who already need a realtor. And then, I was a little older. I mean, I only started in this 13 years ago. So, I could speak professionally to professional people and stuff like that, just having been in corporate and so on. So I thought I might have a better shot than most people at it. But.
And you mentioned something else I'm interested in, because both of my brothers at one point had real estate license in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my youngest brother, he has it because what you were doing in Oregon. What were you doing in Oregon? You said?
I was flipping properties.
And you were the realtor instead of going with one?
It was they were my projects, and I was just too cheap to pay a realtor.
I think that's what my brother was doing.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. He doesn't want to pay a realtor, so he got a license for the properties that he's flipping.
Exactly. And so that's another way to do it. If you have investment money or other people's money that you're using to buy, if you are good at finding deals, you can find a deal and then pay yourself a 3% commission, or however much you want to pay yourself as the owner of the property, selling it on, to the general public.
That makes sense.
That's a way to go.
Definitely. Offered a little illumination to my brother, who's up to a lot of things, but now I think I understand that a little better.
Yeah.
What's the best deals in Boulder right now?
Gosh, Boulder, I would say anything, any condo or townhouse right now is generally the price is pretty depressed on in general. Certainly any interest rate sensitive price points are also pretty depressed right now, or having problems selling stuff. If the buyer pool for a given house is very interest rate sensitive, then they're either out of the market because they've gotten, you don't buy a house, you buy a payment, right? And at that level, very few people are buying $1 million house, which is kind of, close to average here, don't need a loan. So if you're getting a loan, then you're going to be really sensitive to that price and that payment and so forth. Mm-hmm. So it's, so there's some good deals to be had in that range, and say up to like 1.5 or 2. And then you kind of get into this area where there's a kind of mixed, people are paying, maybe they'll get a small loan and they're, a little older, maybe they've sold a house, so they have some cash and they're moving to town, something like that. But if I were, if I wanted to own and I wanted to get a good deal, I'd look at townhouse and condo right now for sure.
In Boulder itself?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Any particular area? Like at that 28th, 30th area, or where are these townhouses, condos?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, sure. In the 28th, 30th area, that's kind of where they, there's a lot in that area.
Yeah, so I've seen that.
Yeah. There's some really nice stuff in Boulder right now. In Gun Barrel right now, which is still Boulder, which is selling at a discount. Yeah. I mean, it's, the townhouse and condo market is kind of depressed right now because their HOA fees are going up because of insurance, right? The insurance crisis right now. So for a lot of people, that monthly goes up a little bit because the HOA fees have gone up because of insurance. And so it's a little tougher. You in the market?
We'll see. Yeah. One thing, I have a couple questions. So
sure.
On 3rd in Arapahoe, there was this like big house. I think it was like blue. Mm-hmm. And then they tore it down and they built, I think it was on sale for $3 million.
Okay.
And then it looks like I'm not sure if this is how it happened, but someone bought it, destroyed it, and then built $3 million condos. And like one's for rent and $11,500 a month. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. I showed that property quite a bit. Actually,
is that what happened? Is my understanding of that accurate?
That is more or less what happened. Yes.
Oh wow,
Absolutely.
That's so fascinating.
So they got, they weren't able to. So high-end condos are not. So high-end townhouses are not selling as well as they would like to either. So as I understand it, one of those 3 condos in that complex actually sold pretty quickly.
Okay.
And then the other 2 didn't sell as quickly.
Okay.
And so the people who were, as I don't know for sure that this is what happened, but this is what it seems like happened. It was on the market for approximately 9 months to a year, if I remember correctly. And then those folks, instead of continuing to try to sell and not monetize the asset at all, decided, hey, we'll wait for the market to catch up to us a little bit so we can get that $3 million, that closer to that $3 million price tag. And so we'll rent these out on the open market. And so they're probably doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder what that costs them to create, like when with the house tear down and the rebuild, and if they paid $3 million.
Probably, yeah. I mean, probably a lot. I mean,
Is
construction
another
costs in
3
town,
or another 2 or another 1. I don't know that.
I mean, yeah. So the cost is like, okay, the dirt,
Yeah.
and then the permits. Doing anything in town takes a really long time, and getting the permits and then paying the fees to get your to get the permit to do it.
Mm-hmm.
That takes a long time and takes some money. And then the above ground cost of the build is going to be, especially for a high end place like that, at least 600 a square foot, probably more.
Okay.
And so those places are around 2,500 a piece, I think. So just out the door, you're looking at whatever 600 times 2,500 is, but that's
an interesting.
So the inspection,
investment.
so it's a big, the margins are generally pretty thin, and
yeah, surprisingly, it sounds like that.
It's not like a slam dunk or everybody be doing it,
Yeah,
and that one has a great realtor and a great builder and a great, all of that. It's great pedigree. The quality's there. Yeah. So
if someone bought one of
Yeah.
those places right now for
Yeah.
whatever it is $3 million?
I think it was low 3s.
Yeah, what do you think it would be worth in 10 years?
Great question. Great question. It's so hard to say. It's so hard to say. We say a lot in real estate. Nobody has a crystal ball, but the historic, if you look back in history, Boulder has averaged about a point or so annually higher than the rest of the country. Or
Okay.
yeah. So, there's always going to be people who are willing to pay a little more for access to the nature and Flatirons and this amazing place that we live. So yeah, so about 7% a year over time, with ups and downs.
Yeah,
is about the average.
Right.
And you can time it well so that maybe you had a bunch of good years right in the beginning, or right in the beginning or in the middle or something, so that maybe you get 10% a year. But the average since World War II is approximately like 7%, something like that.
Okay. And then there's this other unique property where all of a sudden you can buy a condo of sorts for $200,000.
Oh, you're talking
with
about
a land lease.
Yeah, you're talking about the land lease property, right?
Now
there.
this is all. This is quite the niche podcast for like Boulder people that are interested in real estate.
That's a funky little area of town too, because like those 3 properties. So there's an attached. There's an apartment complex and a parking lot right there. And then you've got that land lease place kind of backed up against the hill, right? And then you've got this brand new luxury.
Yeah. So breaking normal
right there. Exactly. So
oh, you want to talk? And then what the heck is going on down the street, a couple blocks in this?
Right.
What is that?
Silver Saddle. Yeah. Or
I mean,
whatever.
I could probably talk a couple hours about this, but no, it's before Eben G. Fine Park, and now they're like renting them out.
It's at the very top of the.
It's the cul-de-sac right before Viewpoint Trail.
Okay.
And it was kind of a grungier place.
Okay.
And it was on sale for like $3 million at one point, and there's like 12 or 16 units.
Sure.
And they're like 1-bedroom apartments.
Yeah.
But I think they're doing monthly rentals on them now. So
yeah, that could be
for about $2,000 a month.
It's pretty rarefied air even in Boulder at $3 million for a condo of any kind, or like a tiny house or whatever that is. So, people roll the dice, give it a whirl, see how it goes. But if you get through the busy season and you haven't landed anybody, it's like, okay, how are we going to make some money on this investment? And so they'll figure out a way to rent it out. There's always a strong rental demand. So,
all right. So all right. So we have this one block in Boulder to paint a scene. And this is like one of the best, I think, blocks to have best access to the creek.
It's crazy.
If you like the creek in life.
Yeah.
So you have these $3 million condos.
Yeah.
The one's for sale and one's for rent for $11,500.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have these apartments that range from like say $1,800 to $2,300 for one bedroom apartments.
You're talking about the land lease places?
No, the apartment.
The apartment actual building. Okay, I don't know that.
And then you have the condos that you can buy for about $200,000, and some people have them for rent.
Yeah.
For about $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
What the heck is going? I'm untangling this. So you're telling me the owner bought this condo for $200,000, and the land lease is how much per year?
I think it's somewhere around $36,000 to $48,000 a year. So you're paying approximately $2,000-$3,000 a month for the land lease.
It could change. It could change. That price could change.
It goes up.
It goes up.
The land lease definitely goes up.
Because most, if there was a place you were going to try to buy in that area without the land lease, wouldn't it cost closer to like $1 million or something, or $750,000, like a 2-bedroom? I don't know.
Well, have you ever been in one of those? I've shown them a couple times.
Oh yeah, I've been in one. Yeah, I looked around.
So the walls are really thin, and it's not great construction, and so it's you can short term them, which is good as a landlord, but not so great if you're living there full time. So for a certain buyer, I might recommend that property, but in general, no. And I did hear that recently the land lease cost went up.
Okay.
And so now they're just like barely breaking even on a long-term lease. Probably not breaking even if you consider maintenance and taxes and stuff. So it's not a good buy, man. I wouldn't recommend it.
This is tricky.
It's tricky. That's what realtors are for.
Who's getting the best deal in that area? The guy that bought the $3 million condo, the guy that's renting it for $12,000, the guy that bought the condo, or the guy that's renting the condo for $2,000 a month, or the people in an apartment that are renting for $1,800 a month?
It's a great question. I would say right now, the person who's doing best is probably the one who's got a lot of dry powder, some cash laying around, waiting for the right buy in the neighborhood and just renting. I mean, if you've got that $12,000 a month to spend on a gorgeous 3,000 square foot beautiful condo to rent, that's probably the smartest money, because you have some.
And then across the creek, you have affordable housing.
Yeah.
What is this? What is affordable housing? How's that work?
There's a whole program for it. Yeah, you have to apply, and you have to learn some things about the program and about Boulder and how it works, and then you have access to your own, like a mini market unto itself, that where you enter a lottery for a place.
Yeah, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's a lottery system. So you're
are they betting on all of the affordable housing, or just like one?
Well, you can choose. So listings will come up.
Okay.
Like once you're approved for the program, listings will come up within the affordable program.
Okay.
And you'll have the option of buying those at a greatly reduced price, or they do have rental affordable as well, where depending on your income and stuff, you would be able to get a reduced amount of rent for a place like that. If you do the buyer program, your appreciation is capped at approximately 2%, I think, a year. And so, obviously for important reasons, they don't want people buying these and monetizing them and making a bunch of money, right? The whole point of it is that we have a housing shortage here, and we want to make great housing available to folks who live and work here. And so there's some hurdles to cross, but you can definitely, you still make some money. You're not, the average rental price, as I understand it, rises approximately between 4% and 5% a year here.
Okay.
So if you can afford an affordable housing program home, you're generally going to only be paying 1 or 2%. You're only getting 1 or 2%, but your loan is going to be so much smaller that it works out better than trying to find a new rental every 2 years. Like if you know you're going to be in Boulder for a long time, that's a great way to go.
Okay.
Making your head spin yet?
Yeah, a little bit. Because I'm interested. Out of all
Yeah.
places in the world, I am definitely interested
Yeah.
in this market.
Yeah.
And like when I try to explain it to people, I'm like, well, this is what I somewhat understand.
Sure. Have them call me. I love talking about this stuff. I can keep going all day.
All right. So are you, for the properties that you're representing, do you think one is the best deal? Like which one do you have?
Oh my gosh. Deal? I have this amazing property right now that I do not understand how it hasn't sold. It's incredible.
It got me. Like,
yeah.
All right.
It's incredible.
Maybe some people are, what is it?
So it's in Gun Barrel and it's on open space. It was recently improved from top to bottom with a very talented designer, great colors, great materials. They kind of, it doesn't feel like a flip. It is a flip, but it doesn't feel like a flip inside.
Okay.
And the workmanship, the fixtures, the surfaces, everything was done to a really good level of quality. And I don't know why. We listed it a little late in the year, a little later. So you never know when you list something in the fall if it's going to go or not. But somehow it's not meeting the market. And so, we're talking about changing the marketing and stuff, but it's in Gun Barrel. It's on Colt Drive, 5580 Colt.
Okay.
It's an amazing property.
And when it's next to open space, meaning there's not going to be anything ever built?
Correct. That's protected open space in perpetuity.
Okay.
Yeah. Pretty amazing. I mean, there's a trail that goes by on the open space right along the line of houses that are on this open space. So you're basically like anytime you can be on a trail and accessing the entire Boulder Valley Trail system. It's pretty insane.
And here's another question.
It's about $1 million right now.
Okay.
$1,090,000 actually.
Okay.
60, yeah.
I like it. And then there's this mushroom house on Wonderland Lake. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Do you know the story of this house?
I don't know about how that house was built, but I remember, back then Boulder was still pretty funky.
Okay.
Right. And so there's a few like Buckminster Fuller houses, like Buckyballs, Buckminster Fuller.
I'm somewhat familiar. Yeah.
Sure. So like a geodesic dome. So
Yep.
he invented the geodesic dome. And right around this same time, NCAR was designed, and that has, that was featured in Woody Allen's Sleeper movie, like very I Am Pei, very austere. So people were just doing funky stuff with, I've been in a couple of houses in that same line on the right side of Wonderland Lake Boulevard there. And, it's super funky, but your house looks like a mushroom. It's cool.
Yeah, I also think it might be built with more natural materials, and like
sure,
the backside
absolutely.
might have like an epic view, if I'm not mistaken.
It does, absolutely.
Okay.
It's a little bit elevated, and so you get to see out. That could be like straw bale construction or something.
Yeah,
that would totally make sense.
Are you familiar with the Golden
From
Hoof?
a structural what?
The Golden Hoof
I
on
am not.
75th,
Tell me
the
about
private
that.
membership farm.
I am not.
Oh, I interviewed Alice. She has also the Cobb type of built homes.
Okay, sure.
And it's a great interview. I definitely recommend checking it out. But we did I interviewed her twice, and one of the times I interviewed in her house, and I just love those homes. And I'm like, why do more people not have these homes? And she's like, oh, they're uninsurable.
Right.
And she's like, but
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it. They're fireproof,
Right.
alleged according to her.
Sure.
That's kind of funky.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of whether or not they're uninsurable or whether or not they're warrantable, which means you can get a loan on them.
Okay.
Right. So a lot of these funky constructions, you can't really buy them unless you can pay cash for them, because you can't get a normal rate on a normal
Gotcha.
loan because of Fannie and Freddie. So, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have guidelines
Okay.
around the properties of houses in order for them to be lendable, to be warrantable. And so if you don't fit in that narrow guideline, like it has to have a foundation, for example, or a bunch of things it has to have. I mean, that's not always true, but you whatever, there's like this set of guidelines. And if a house doesn't fit into them, then yeah, you either have to pay cash, or you have to find a rich uncle, or you have to get there are also lenders that do what's called portfolio loans, where a bank will lend from the funds that they're actually holding. So some loans get done with local banks that way.
Wow. Here's another property I was curious about at one point. There's some sort of like reservoir or like a water holding space behind like it might be like a little northwest of Wonderland Lake.
Yeah.
And there was like a 9-acre property for sale or 11-acre property for sale. And it was like you had like the waterfront, but I'm not sure if you're allowed to be in that water. Do you know what I'm talking about? It might have been between like Wonderland Lake and like wherever that Lee Hill. Oh god.
Yep, Lee Hill goes up there. So does I think I know probably the one you're talking about. So there's Lee Hill, heading up to Pine Brook Hills. There's Linden.
Mm-hmm.
So off of Linden, there's an interesting property off to the left there, right before you start going up the hill. And there's some other, parcels around there too that, who knows, there might be oh no, I think I know which one you're thinking of now.
I think it was like 9 acres or 11 acres for like 3 million or something.
Yes. Yep. That's right. I do know which property you're talking about now.
What, do you understand what's going on with that property?
I know that they've been trying to sell it forever. So you've got it's a tricky property because you've got, do you know the guy, do you know Spider Clothing was started in Boulder?
No, but that doesn't surprise me.
So there's this, if you go up Lee Hill, Dakota Ridge, there's a compound. They call it the Spider House because it was the founders who originally built it. It's totally awesome. I mean, it's a great I And then on the other side of the Spider House, there's this piece of land that I've met the owner, super cool guy. I actually met him at the Outback shooting pool.
Oh, nice. Okay,
super good guy. And he's just been trying to sell that land for quite a while. And I know there's a little hair on like trying to get the parcels done, and like, can each of them have their own house and kitchen and stuff like that? There was some shenanigans with but as I understand it, that has all been worked out. So I think when the market picks up, that'll be one of the first like developments that we see to go.
Yeah, is that mistaken. I wonder, can multiple families like build multiple homes on that, or
doubtful?
Yeah, so it might have to be a single family.
Yeah, you'd be buying most likely like an acre-sized parcel that's buildable. They might even like build the septic into it.
Okay.
So that you get to show up with your plans and an architect and a builder and just build your dream house. Those will all be like big buck houses, my guess.
Yeah. And then what's the deal with the water? Isn't it on water or like a lake of something, or like I don't know if it's a reservoir. I thought there was like a waterfront.
None of that can be used for that. Okay. You have to dig a well.
Yeah. And then you want to technically be allowed to swim in the water type of thing, or
I don't
because that seems intriguing to have a nice.
That would be amazing. Yeah. I don't yeah. That's pretty rare. If you wanted to have a lake that you can actually recreate on and you can swim in it and you would want to swim in it, it's not like a big mud puddle or something. Mm-hmm. You'd head out on 36. There's that Lake of the Pines.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I have a friend that has a place there.
Natural lake. It's awesome. It's deep. They do water skiing on it.
Oh, I didn't know it was big enough to do that. That was pretty close to that fire, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
But that would be a great place to have an actual swimming lake, and water's clean, people taking care of it, all that stuff.
What if you had zero budget and every house was available in Boulder? Which one would you get?
That's a great question too. I would say, I'm not big on maintaining houses anymore. I've owned a bunch of places, so I'm not sure I would want a house.
Okay.
I mean, if I had, fuck you money.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. And then every house was available. It's just like you had a billion cash.
I could do whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are a few areas where, a buddy of mine probably has that house.
Okay.
I was lucky to help him buy it. And so, it would be great if there were a lake that was very swimmable and awesome here, but there there kind of isn't. Lake of the Pines is really the closest.
What is that one thing just straight east of Boulder near Cherryvale? That little reservoir.
Yep,
It has a
that's-
private beach.
Yep,
thing.
yep. That's absolutely. You can get one of those and have access to that beach for
Mesa,
just a little over $1 million. Yeah,
What? That's interesting too.
yeah.
What is
Yeah,
that lake
it's
called?
like a club. It's it has a name. It's a reservoir. I don't.
You get a
remember.
beautiful view of the Flatirons
Yeah.
there, especially during sunset.
Yeah, Ridgely Hills is the name of the subdivision, and you get certain houses that are close by get access to that lake.
Do you know where that water is coming from?
I do not. I do not know where that water is coming from. It's. I wouldn't say it's like the virgin snows of the Rocky Mountains.
Yeah,
or
I've
anything.
wondered
It
about
has
that. But it looks like people swimming around it.
There are definitely people swimming in it. Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I've seen this like house, and when you get near the Flagstaff,
Yeah.
below Flagstaff, there's like
Yeah.
these glass. I've seen a glass house.
Yeah. There's a couple of those in town. Yeah.
That seems interesting.
Super
Are those ever
interesting.
for sale or?
Oh yeah, they come up every now and again.
Okay, there's a few glass houses, like they're literally how.
Well, it's funny. There are a few houses that have huge glass facades or that were built with some structural glass in them.
Yeah.
And there's actually only one that is on four sides
That's
glass.
that's the one I'm talking about.
Okay. So I call that one the glass house.
Okay, yeah.
But there was a property on the market for a few years recently for a lot of money that had a lot of glass. And it was sort of back in I think it was the early 80s that one was bought, if that one was built, if I'm not mistaken. That was called the glass house.
Okay.
But it's not that glassy compared to the other one.
Yeah,
So when I think of the glass house, I think of the glass box one.
Yeah, because on sunrise it just reflects. It's like, what is
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
Sounds
yeah.
like an experiment
Yeah, yeah.
of sorts.
Oh my gosh, it's a huge experiment. Yeah. And the physics of that and how that works with the sun and the ambient, light and solar and all that stuff is pretty challenging. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
It's like the way it traps,
I
it would have a tendency to trap moisture up high. And so they have windows up there and it was super complex. It's an engineering marvel, that house. Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing.
Do you have any questions for me?
Let's go get it. Let's go get it.
Okay. Is it available?
Everything's available.
The Star House. What about the Star House? That's a cool thing, isn't it? You know what I'm talking about? Up
Yeah.
Sunshine Canyon?
Yeah, I love that place.
Isn't that that's like they're doing unique things there, like hosting events and such.
Have you been up there yet?
I've only been, I think, at the property, not at an event somehow.
Yeah, you should go. They do a lot of stuff. It's fun. Bang a drum, do some chanting,
Yeah.
do some like 5 rhythms or something like that.
Yeah.
Some dance.
Do they have special licensing to like have a property like that in Boulder and then do events?
Yeah. They've already crossed all those hurdles. They have little houses and cabins that they can rent out and stuff. It's a pretty cool gig up there.
I interviewed this guy named Eagle McMahon in town recently. He's a famous disc golfer.
Oh, cool.
And his dad used to run some sort of chocolate church. This might have been before your time, though. How long? You said you've been here for 13 years?
Yeah, not that long.
Yeah, I'm not. But apparently they got
A
shut
chocolate
down.
church?
Yeah, like they was like do cacao ceremonies. And it was like a raw
Oh,
vegan
cool.
collective.
Oh, okay.
And apparently it got so big it got shut down somehow.
Okay.
I don't know if you're ever. I'm just.
No, that sounds fun though. I don't know about it.
And then I guess we're coming up on our time here. That's like 52 minutes.
Okay, buddy.
Do you have any questions for me? And how do people, if they wanted to get in touch with you?
Well, my name is Stewart Ward. If
Okay.
you put that into a browser, you're going to come up with a bunch, a couple different websites and stuff like that. I appreciate you thinking about my business. I would love to, do anything I can. When I was doing, when I was looking up your name and stuff, I saw you sell some buffalo-based products.
Yeah, I brought you. I was whipping up some tallow balm today, so I brought you a
cool.
jar that's like 98% full.
Wow, cool.
It was just
Awesome.
like our
Thanks.
last little squeeze, but it's basically that's pure bison kidney fat
Wow.
enhanced with a little organic emu oil
Wow.
and organic cacao and vanilla. If you want to take a smell, have you ever used a tallow balm?
I have not.
I was in, I was in California longer than I expected.
Yeah.
It
It smells like vanilla.
I was really missing this product
Hmm.
because it really helps absorb the sun better. I almost feel like it's a food for your skin.
Wow.
So that's a gift for you. I know Yovel loves
I
it.
can always use more food for my skin. It
Yeah.
feels so dry around here.
That is, I bet you've heard that a lot too when people move into town. Like I've had so many friends visit, and they have sometimes they get so dry, it's like they get like itchy and a little anxious.
Yeah.
And I'm like, get some of that tallow on you, and you'll be more than good.
It's true. It's true. And you know, I wasn't a big moisturizer before I moved here, honestly.
Me neither.
Like, you know,
Me neither.
and then you kind of need to do it every day or every other day, right?
Yeah, I like putting
least.
that on my face at night
Yeah.
for sure. If I was going to use it in one way.
Yeah. I'm sure it's a great product, man.
Well, I'm gonna the longer I stay here, the more people are intrigued about living here,
Uh-huh.
and some of my friends are, very successful, and I have friends that are looking to invest into a home in Boulder, but they're having a hard time pulling the trigger on it right now.
Mm.
But maybe with our connection here, we can help them
I'd love
jump
to help.
that hurdle.
I mean, I'm available to talk to anyone anytime about real estate. I love doing it. So, and not to, please don't, there's no, for me, the value is just being able to help if I can. And if they want to work with me, or it looks like that's going to come to fruition, that's great. And it's totally awesome if not too. I feel like it's sort of a self, I get a lot out of it. I love Boulder, and I love telling people about Boulder and learning about Boulder, and helping people move here. Boulder can always use as many awesome people as possible, and so it's good for everyone.
Do you want to live here forever?
It's a great question. You get older, and it's pretty cold in the winter here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a little older. I'm from Miami, but I am a complete nut for skiing. So
Okay, that helps.
Yeah, so that's a little push pull.
Then what about that dream budget, or that FU money? Where do you think where do you want to live the most? If outside of Boulder, where would be your next choice?
My next choice outside of Boulder, I wouldn't mind having a nice spot in California somewhere, just relatively close to the Sierras, but also close to the water. California, I think, has some unbelievably beautiful land just all over the place. It's so amazing. I love the ocean. So yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to learn to surf, so it's just one of those things. I grew up on boats and stuff, but we didn't really surf all that much in the Miami area. So.
Yeah, that's not a big. But Miami Beach gets great waves with the hurricanes. If the hurricane's like sitting off the right distance and the wind is right,
yeah,
those sandbars, like I'm talking like 1st to 5th Street,
yeah,
that can be epic surf.
I have heard that.
Yeah.
I've seen guys out there doing it. I had a condo in South Beach for a while, and living down there, and you'd hear, I had a couple of friends who were there doing that. But yeah, I was mostly focused on boats and fishing and that kind of stuff. But to be in an actual surfing location, I mean, probably Hawaii would actually, if I had like all the money in the world, I'd probably have a place in Hawaii.
Have you visited some of the
I
islands?
have a bunch of times.
Do you have a favorite spot that you've been to in Hawaii? I've been to. I love Hawaii as well.
Okay. I mean, I don't know it as well as you probably. I've only been to Maui,
Mhm.
so,
Nice.
and I know the areas of Maui fairly well. So
Did you go to upcountry at all,
Oh,
like Makawao or?
I did drive
Olympic?
up country.
That's
I
to me
went all the
is
way up there.
jam.
That's incredible stuff.
It is.
I would probably with that budget, be a little closer to the water, like the beach, than being up country. But I still, just to be there would be amazing.
You know who has a lot of
Incredible
good
stuff.
properties? Like because I've traveled so much, and every time I feel like I'm in one of the best places, even like from San Luis Obispo, like these beach homes in San Luis Obispo
It's
to
beautiful stuff.
Maui.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, Oprah owns that place. Oprah owns. I'm like, how many
Right.
epic homes does Oprah own?
I know. It's you have to wonder. I know. Yeah, we were staying at a friend's house recently, very very close to San Luis Obispo, a little south of there, and on the street that we were on is called Reed Ranch, and she had one of those houses apparently, and like, yeah, she's just one of those people. It's like you're in Telluride. Oh, that's Oprah's place.
Yep.
So,
Have you ever heard of Hollister Ranch off of Santa Barbara? This like private residence area.
I have heard of it. I've heard it, but I
I
didn't
think
go
that's
there.
some of the most unique real estate in the world,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and it seems very privatized.
Yeah. Yeah. That could be a good place.
There's an island off Kauai. I think it's called Niihau. Have you heard of this? Niihau. 150 Hawaiians live there.
How about that? No.
Yeah.
You know, someday when we get that Larry Ellison money, we'll.
Yeah, he doesn't. He own like Lanai or
He
something.
does. Yeah,
he
owns
owns
the whole
Lanai.
place.
I've not been to Lanai. I've seen it from Big Beach and Little Beach and Maui,
Uh-huh.
like on the Kihei side.
Yeah, me too. And there's that little, like, there's a little island off of it where you can snorkel and kind of look up.
That's
at it
off
and
of
stuff.
Lanai.
Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah,
Yeah, I'm very
Anyway.
into like I'm very intrigued by the best places on earth, and a lot of times there's really cool homes built in these places.
it's true.
I think Encinitas, California, is one. I think
Very beautiful spot.
and then Byron Bay, Australia. I'm not any. Have you ever,
I've spent a couple months there.
You have? Did you go to Wadigos, the beach, the very eastern tip?
Yeah, yeah.
Show me a better place for
Yeah.
real estate.
I know, amazing. And you surf with dolphins.
Allegedly, the Aborigines we used to give birth at Wadigos with dolphins.
I believe that.
That
Byron Bay
place,
is
yeah, like when I was,
Byron Bay is incredible.
because I'm starting to think of zero budget. I'm like, I'll get a house on Wadigos.
Fair enough. I mean,
I like Iceland a lot,
I haven't been there.
but the California homes, those beach homes,
It's incredible, right?
Yeah, because so many people are spending so much money to like commute to the beach, and then you see these like properties that have like, not only are they beachfront, but they have a golf course on them, like a miniature golf course.
All right.
Like your yard is worth $20 million, or that little golf green you have there. All right. Well, thanks for
Pretty
breaking
amazing,
man. With me.
No, my pleasure, man. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
And how did Yovel connect to this? How did you get in touch with Yovel?
I met him in Highland at the.
Do you work out at the Highland City Club as well?
I do. I work out of there.
I think that's one of the coolest buildings in Boulder.
I really love it there.
Is there the Moxie? Have you been to the Moxie marketing agency across, like near that new hotel on Broadway in Arapahoe? It's like, that's a cool building too. It's a brick building. That's a really cool one.
You're not talking about the Moxie Hotel. You're
No,
talking
yeah,
about...
this literally called Moxie, and it's
The
a
Moxie
marketing
building?
agency.
Okay.
I don't understand what's with Moxie's. There's a Moxie bakery here, and there's the Moxie Hotel, and then there's the Moxie. Is that all just
I think it's all different people.
synchronicity there?
Yeah.
Boulder's a vortex.
Yeah.
We'll keep breaking
Draws a
normal,
lot of
y'all.
us in. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, and I trust for especially people interested in moving or are living in Boulder or are curious about it. This is a great resource, and anyone that's interested in real estate like myself.
Call me anytime, man.
Thank you, Stewart.
My pleasure.
Take care, y'all.
Thanks a lot.